Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Eden's Garden, or should I say, Tozu's Tea Time. Last time, we got to the intermission of trial number 1. Well, technically it's number 2, but it's for chapter 1, okay? So let's see what this is about.
If you haven't already, please sit back and relax. Here, we do not use our brains, but deal only in gossip. Now, a question from me to you.
Oh, okay.
What are sheep good at, if anything?
Making more sheep.
Most humans, and some sheep, tend to respond with a resounding, absolutely nothing.
And some sheep.
Sheep cannot create art or invent medicine. For goodness sake, they can't even perform music. Their limited speech and quadrupedal locomotion prevents them from reaching the heights of humans. They're practically glued to the lower echelons of the food chain. No matter how hard sheep may try, they will never be anything more than their number tags.
Oof.
I can't say I like that answer. Too pessimistic for me. Plus, what of the sheep who still try? The sheep who realize their fate but continue to challenge it all the same. That they can be so determined to prove their worth when humans have all but deemed them microwavable meals.
I don't think I've ever eaten sheep, to be honest.
Isn't that something admirable? What a shame our sheep had to be so misguided.
Because Wolfgang, he had a sheep pin?
It seems that's about all the time we have. Thank you again for attending Tozu's Tea Time.
Wow.
No need for extravagant farewells. I've an inkling you'll be back for tea sooner than you can say Jack Robinson.
Jack Robinson.
Who's Jack Robinson? I have no idea. Ta-ta.
I guess I haven't left yet, so technically it was right. That zoom was very odd. Alright, here we go.
Tell me what happened.
Where do I even start, though?
How about you begin by explaining why you went to the boiler room?
Why I went there? It was 'cause of a note.
Oh, now we get to see the full note.
A note?
2 days ago, someone slid one into my room. I never got to see who. I just heard a knock. And when I walked over, there was a note under my door.
I don't remember any of this.
Sorry. It was midday-ish, and you weren't there at the time. And I didn't show you the note later because... well, I'll just read you what it said.
Oh, or not.
Diana, as you are aware, it is our obligation to speak with those whose blackmail we have obtained. After receiving your blackmail and reading the information disclosed in it, I believe a meeting between the two of us is warranted. In 2 days' time, please come to the underground boiler room at 8:45 a.m. Make sure to arrive promptly and close the door behind you. To avoid discourse, do not show anyone this letter. Do not approach me about it either. Even in private, there's always the chance someone could hear. Wolfgang.
Wolfie wrote this?
Wolfgang had Diana's blackmail? But didn't he have Jean's?
Hold on a sec. If you take a closer look, the handwriting on that note, doesn't it resemble the handwriting on Wolfgang's note?
Yes.
You're actually right. Even though Wolfgang's note has been water damaged, the words I can make out were in the same messy scroll as Diana's here.
Then someone else was posing as Wolfgang?
The killer, most likely. They must have thought his word was the only one Diana would follow.
Guess it worked, huh?
I didn't want to show this note earlier because I was scared of how people would try to twist it. Like saying I faked the note or that I decided to kill because of it. I thought it would be better to just stay quiet. I know you guys think I'm stupid for agreeing to meet in a place like the boiler room. And I am. I am stupid.
I mean, I don't know. When Eva and Damon were like, where should we meet to discuss? They went basically to the boiler room. I know it was the storage closets, but still. It's just the most natural place.
Didn't want to disappoint Wolfgang. In case he really did write the note. Which was why I left my room around 8:40 a.m. and went downstairs.
Did you catch any strange movement down there?
No. It was just me. I did find the boiler room door hanging open a little bit. But I didn't think much of it. I just went inside and closed the door behind me. Since that's what the note asked me to do.
What did you see inside the boiler room?
So Wolfgang was already clocked at that point, right?
The boiler room was really dark. So the first thing I noticed was actually the security camera light. My eyes had to take a few seconds to adjust to everything else. But after that, I finally saw him.
Wolfgang, you're back! Yes, I'm fine.
Wolfgang was lying in the water, making these weird noises.
Come on.
It didn't seem like he'd even notice me entering the room. Not until...
So, does he have like a black eye, or does he just canonically wear eyeliner?
Wolfgang? Hearing his name seemed to snap him out of his trance, because he slowly rose to his feet.
Oh, is he in fight or flight mode? He's just gonna try to stab her?
Wolfgang, are you okay?
That doesn't look good.
It's you.
Huh?
I can't believe it. I really am finally meeting you.
What do you mean?
Oh. Does he think she's his evil mother or something? Oh no, he's going zombie mode.
Please, forgive me. Please forgive me for what I've become.
Wolfgang?
Despite how hard I tried, how much I wanted it to be true, I could never become you. I will always be a failure.
Uh-oh. He became like Pop.
It's okay, Wolfgang. Look! There's stairs over here. Come over here and we can get out.
Oh,
I have
dear.
no idea if he didn't hear me. Or if he was just ignoring me. But... okay.
No.
I'll get closer to you then.
Diana, no. This is how you get stabbed.
I went over to the ledge of the platform. The part where the fence had a gap. Just take my hand, okay? And I'll pull you out. He slowly stumbled over. And he held my hand. I didn't really think I could pull him out. I just wanted to be there for him. It was the best I could do. Because I didn't want to enter the water. Staying on the platform felt so much safer. And I really, really hate that it did.
Sniffing ASMR.
It's okay, Wolfgang. We'll get through this together, alright?
Oh man. If this really is, like, he's got this terrible family history or whatever, and he's, like, seeing visions of his dead mother, and, like, presuming... Because, like, Diana and her hair color is fairly similar. Like, this is, like, an extra level of messed up.
I was looking at him when I said that. I was looking right at him. But somehow... Somehow I didn't think to react.
Wow, I can't believe we didn't hear any of this. Like, through the vent in the wall. Actually, maybe the game tournament wasn't started yet.
When
You think somebody
reached
would have.
inside his blazer.
Oh, okay, that's not as bad as it could have been. These are good sprites, by the way.
Bring her back. Bring her back!
I tried to leave the room, but the door was locked. I didn't know what to do.
Oh no.
I started looking around for things to defend myself with.
So this is interesting because I assume maybe the clue in the infirmary area somehow clued somebody into this fact about Wolfgang, or like somebody already knew about it, because it really seems like this is set up to have Diana and Wolfgang fight, like the two most hopeful people, right? But they'd have to be able to prey on Wolfgang's specific mania. Unless maybe the drug he was injected with was causing him to see hallucinations. I don't know.
And that's when I saw the gun.
Oh, okay. That was just there.
The taser gun?
Hopefully.
Did you use it?
I took the taser, and I aimed it at Wolfgang, and I...
Okay, so now everybody's gonna think she did kill him.
I couldn't do it.
Oh, interesting.
I couldn't shoot him. I just backed away from him. I couldn't understand anything. Why was this happening to me? Why was I being attacked? Why can't I do anything to...
Beeping?
I'm not like you. I'll never be like you. I won't give up until the world knows. I won't give up until everyone knows me as...
All right. As what? Finish your sentence. I don't know what that could have been.
All of a sudden, everything turned white. Everything in front of me, except Wolfgang. In those few seconds, he became pitch black. And then, so did everything else.
This is so good. It's like a normally this kind of like artistic rendition of the scene would be saved for like the end of the case, right? So it's kind of crazy to get one right in the middle, and then like there's more to talk about after this.
Even though I didn't see Wolfgang fall over, I heard it. His body cracking against the pavement, and his knife falling into the water. I waited for the gasp of pain, for him to groan or mumble or say something. But there was nothing. There was just me and the silence. That's how it happened.
Okay, but when did the taser gun get fired then? That's the craziest part in this whole story to me. Because, like, I totally buy that the taser gun isn't the actual cause of the electrocution, and it's from the generator because that cord got sliced and probably fell into the water. But the question is, like, when did the taser gun get fired? And then, of course, who set all this up?
What the fuck?
Okay.
That man attacked you?
Oh my goodness, Diana, I'm at a loss for words.
This is getting too much for me, bros. I think I'm gonna faint.
No, she's not gonna like that.
Holy shit. So Diana really did watch Wolfgang die.
Why was he so violent towards her? It's like he became an entirely different person.
Like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
The word you're looking for is crazy.
Is it? Despite how hard I tried, how much I wanted it to be true, I could never become you. Why would Wolfgang say those words in that particular moment?
How'd you manage to escape the boiler room after all that?
By picking the door's lock.
Right, and that took a long time.
For reals? I wasn't even thinking. I just started feeling my way back to the door in the dark. And then, well, my supply bag. I remembered the spare hairpins I always kept inside. So I felt around the bag and dug one out. To be honest, I have no idea how I managed to unlock the door. The whole thing was repeated trial and error. Just minutes of me telling myself that somehow this next attempt will finally work.
Whoa! Actually unlocking the doors. That's like hitting a bullseye blindfolded.
Do it enough times eventually.
It took so long for her to escape.
I realized why it happened. Getting trapped inside, I mean. The door's lock was on the outside. So, someone must have set the lock before I came downstairs. So that when I closed the door,
so they weren't actually even there. Even more evidence to the it's somebody at the gaming event. I don't know. Oh, this is interesting.
The lock is normally on the inside too. The killer purposely flipped it, then left the door open so you would be the one to close it. As for why the killer locked the door to begin with.
It was to frame Diana, right?
Right. The killer made Diana trap herself inside the boiler room, so they could kill Wolfgang in front of her, and force her to remain by his body.
To frame
if
her.
If that worked, Diana would only be able to escape if someone from outside entered the boiler room.
But honestly, that might have been easier to disprove if, like, we found her locked in there. You know what I mean? I don't know.
By which point, that someone would be stumbling across what looks like a cut-and-dry murder case.
If the tournament folk found Diana, they would have been playing right into the killer's hands.
Speaking of which, Diana, I'm curious to know, did you unlock the door before or after the tournament attendees arrived downstairs?
It sort of happened at the same time. Like, when I opened the door, there were already people walking down the stairs. Obviously, I couldn't stay inside the boiler room. If anyone saw me close to Wolfgang's body, it would look really bad. The hallway was a bit easier to make out in the dark, so I walked over to a wall bordering one of the storage closets and hid behind it, and stayed as quiet as possible.
That's where the second blood stain, okay.
I was still bleeding a little from Wolfgang's cut, though, and some of that blood ended up dripping onto the floor around me.
It's the blood on the underground floor! It's all coming together!
Just you sitting there trying to lockpick the door for like 40 minutes bleeding the whole time. That's horrible. I guess it wasn't maybe that long, but because the gaming tournament, when was it? I've got like 9 o'clock stuck in my head, but I think it might have been like 9 something. And then she went down there at 8:45 and had to do the whole fight. So not that long, but still.
This was shortly before us tournament goers split up. And you made a run for it, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Down the hallway, up the stairs, and then as quietly as possible into my room. Since everything was still really dark, I had to patch myself using the Tozu Trinket's projection as my light. I realize this is a lot, and I know it's hard to believe without proof. So, if you guys could just give me a second.
There is proof. Reaching into her makeup bag, Diana pulled out a wipe and began scrubbing at her arm.
I cleared up the blood pretty fast. Luckily for me, the cut wasn't that deep. There's still a chance it may leave a scar, though.
Holy crap!
I like the loading just causes him to be like staring to the right for a second before saying that. It's so funny.
That's awful! It's okay. I'll cover it back up again.
Why did Wolfgang attack you for no reason?
I wouldn't say it was for no reason.
You're being kind of insensitive, man.
Hey, man.
Huh? I didn't mean it like that. What I'm trying to say is, Wolfgang's actions may look random from an outsider's perspective, But from his perspective, well, judging by his behavior, it seems like he saw something which shook him to his core.
Like, there was something in the room that Diana didn't see?
Well,
That's impossible! It was only me and Wolfgang in the boiler room.
I don't believe John meant it in a literal sense.
Wolfgang literally saw something?
yes, he saw something not from a book.
He thought he saw something, is my point.
You mean he had been hallucinating? What did Wolfgang hallucinate for him to turn out the way Diana described?
You'd be surprised by the sort of things our minds can invent. I'm lucky to have never experienced anything myself, but I know some who have hallucinated.
Especially on the
nasty
sea.
things. Demons and monsters, or the feeling of being tortured. If Wolfgang went through something similar, I can see why he lashed out.
Now, what the heck is going on at sea?
I am never getting on a boat again.
Of course, these hallucinations don't just happen out of the blue. More often than not, they're substance-induced.
Substance-induced?
Wait.
Wolfgang took a hallucinogenic.
Hallucinogenic.
Hallucinogenics?
One which induced a lot of fatigue, too, judging by the way he lumbered about in Diana's account.
It would explain why Wolfgang mostly stayed in one place.
Why he couldn't pull himself out of the water?
One place, which happened to be in the water.
Seems very deliberate. Aye. I reckon the killer knocked Wolfgang unconscious in order to drag him into the water, but knew he would eventually wake up again. So they drugged him with something which would basically make him despondent. As for where the drug came from...
Oh no! Don't tell me the killer robbed...
I knew exploring it was a bad idea.
It? What's this it we're talking about?
Drugland!
The pharmacy, obviously. Why the heck did we think leaving that place open was a good idea?
Okay,
Now someone's
guys.
stolen an item and drugged Wolfgang.
To be fair, this is like the least integral part of the plan. Everything else would have still happened even if the pharmacy wasn't here.
Fuck! I knew our promise was too good to be true.
Fuck all you guys!
Any of you guys! And don't say Wolfgang drugged himself. Who wants to be tortured by demons?
Well, stranger people do exist.
Okay, not the time.
That's rich coming from you.
Just as I predicted, exploring the pharmacy ended up paving the way for murder. Should I have made more of an attempt to stop people from exploring? Back then, all I did was...
We entered the newly opened pharmacy. Giving everyone unrestricted access to the medication sounded like a disaster in the making. But having already evoked the group's ire after speaking my mind before, I was about to make the same mistake twice. I'll just stay quiet and let them do their thing. Hee hee hee.
Then again, it's not like they would have listened to me. Especially not with Wolfgang in control.
If we know where the perpetrator got their chemicals, I guess our next step is figuring out how they did the drugging.
Agreed. It would help us better understand the timeline of events, and potentially even validate Diana's testimony.
Sounds like you guys can leave this one to me. I'm the kind of person who knows someone back to front the moment I meet them. If you haven't already realized, I've gone and read this killer like an open book.
Sure you have, man.
You're the last person I trust to reach a correct conclusion.
Just you wait! The second you hear what I gotta say, you'll be eating those words.
I'll make you eat those words.
Pinning down how Wolfgang was drugged may validate Diana's testimony. The question is, how did the killer drug him?
I wonder. Whoa! Low frame rate trial. Oh, it could be the odd smell or the neck.
I bet the killer took a pill
No.
and forced Wolfgang to swallow it.
Just jab him at that point.
Agree. Okay.
How would the killer make him swallow a pill? There was no proof they restrained him.
Didn't the killer knock Wolfie out? Maybe that was their way of restraining him.
You can't force an unconscious person to swallow a pill.
What if it was a drug You don't need to eat.
Like an inhalable substance?
Oh yeah, like a powder or something.
The pharmacy does have a large collection of over-the-counter sedatives, but there's too many for us to isolate any specific one.
How did the killer drug Wolfgang? Out of all the ideas being thrown around, only one of them has any real merit. Why is it like...
I bet the killer took a pill and forced Wolfgang to swallow it.
Just...
What? There we go.
I got it.
When Wolfgang's wounds were discussed earlier, it was mentioned he had a tiny red dot below the bruise on his neck. During the investigation, I thought this dot was a scab from a mole or pimple. But knowing Wolfgang was drugged, it's clear to see what it really is. A puncture wound.
Considering the timeline of events, an injection would check out. If Wolfgang got drugged a little after 8:15 a.m. and was already feeling the effects when Diana arrived at 8:45 a.m., then we're dealing with something which entered his bloodstream in under 30 minutes. Any normal pill would have taken, probably an hour to dissolve.
Whilst an injection would be much quicker. I see.
So true. See, this is the weird. This is the weird part. Okay. I was after we got Diana out of the way. My eyes were solely focused on Mark at that point because he's attached to the DJ equipment and this whole gaming setup thing, even though he doesn't seem super interested in it. And the thing I was talking about with Jet, although that doesn't actually matter anymore because the person who was running in the hallway, well, actually, that would allow him to put the rolling pin away is what I was thinking. But I guess that doesn't matter either. We've kind of gotten rid of all those problems. But now I'm really not sure. So...
That's probably
like,
the reason why the killer knocked Wolfgang unconscious. It would have been incredibly difficult to inject him if he was still moving around.
I was going to say, it's kind of it would be weird for Mark to be the killer and then also give us the thing in the trial to do this, and it's like an agree point. Not impossible, but...
They had him right where they wanted. Dazed and unable to fight back, they plunged a syringe into his neck.
With said syringe being filled with a hallucinogenic.
But if this all happened a few minutes after 8:15 a.m., doesn't that make it impossible to pin a suspect?
What? Why is it impossible?
Because everybody's got an alibi for that time. I mean, Damon and I were in my dorm room, and the other party people...
8:15 a.m. Yeah, I was already in the dining hall with Jet, Mark, and Eva.
I left Wolfgang's dorm right after the morning announcement and spent the rest of the hour with Jean.
When Nona and I were in our dorm room together.
And me and Eloise were already sitting down in the courtyard.
Toshiko was giving me the medication she grabbed from the pharmacy.
And, I stayed in my dorm room until 8:40 a.m.
Oh no. If everyone can be accounted for, we really can't discern a suspect.
So, we're back to square one?
Someone here must be lying.
And doesn't plan to stop.
What's screwing us over here? Is there a part of this mystery we're getting wrong? Or could it be we're overlooking something? I mean, we did miss the morning announcement, so maybe the clocks are all messed up. It was ruled out as having no relation to the murder because the wires didn't touch the water. But the position of it, the fact it's destroyed, the timing of the blackout. One coincidence is easy to wave off, but when it's coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, then there's something more going on. There's something more to the generator.
If everyone has an alibi for 8:15 a.m., is it possible the killer never actually attacked Wolfie at that time? But his little note said to come by at 8:15 a.m., didn't it?
Ingrid, do you remember what you said when we couldn't figure out who stole Desmond's taser?
To be honest, I'm drawing a blank.
You suggested we switch subjects and discuss Wolfgang's injuries instead. which we did. As a result, we ended up unraveling more about the case than if we had stuck to the original topic. Right now, we're at a dead end. If we can't get any more leads out of this current discussion, then that's a sign to switch our focus.
Switch our focus to what?
I want to take another look at Diana's testimony.
Mine?
Back when you were describing Wolfgang's death, something stuck out to me.
I was wondering why the game sounded weird in my headphones. The battery's dying. I won't give up until everyone knows me as an explosion.
All of a sudden, everything turned white. Everything in front of me, except Wolfgang. In those few seconds, he became pitch black. And then, so did everything else.
Plump. Crack.
The flash of white Diana described must have been the generator exploding, with the darkness afterwards being the blackout. Think about the order of events there. In just a few seconds, the boiler room's generator explodes, and Wolfgang falls over dead. Doesn't it sound like the two are correlated?
Oi, didn't we go over this already?
We did. The generator has nothing to do with Wolfgang's death. Its wires weren't touching the water.
Dang, Eva, you're going to be wrong about this twice in one case? In both directions? That's just unfortunate.
Indeed. Which is why the murder weapon is the taser gun.
Diana said she never used the taser, though.
Then she's lying!
What? That's not true! I never fired the gun!
It's all good. I believe you.
Yeah.
Sure, nobody can dispute the gun was fired. What can be disputed, though, is when it got fired. I wouldn't be surprised if the killer fired that gun way in advance. Like, sometime before Wolfgang arrived downstairs and left it in the boiler room for us to find later.
What? So the taser gun isn't the murder weapon?
If Wolfgang wasn't killed with the taser gun or the generator, what other options are we left with?
The taser gun is the only option which makes sense. The murder weapon can't be anything else.
The true murder weapon. Is it possible there's a third source of electricity we haven't considered yet? I'm grasping at straws. Am I grasping at straws thinking something like that?
And anyway, the only proof Diana never shot the taser is her own word.
Huh?
Ava! What do you mean?
All the evidence supporting your version of events is circumstantial.
Uh-oh, we're gonna have to fight Eva.
The note you showed us? That could be a fake alibi you made for yourself. The fact that it has the same handwriting as Wolfgang's is already suspicious.
Couldn't that just mean the same person tricked them?
If you earnestly believe Diana didn't write it, then maybe. But do you see what I'm saying? There's no proof Diana never wrote the notes. There's only her word to go by. Because if she did write them, everything about her entering the boiler room at 8:45 a.m. and being locked inside could be a total lie.
I get what you're saying. But if we run with the idea that Diana was the one waiting for Wolfgang all the way back at 8:15 a.m., then we're stuck with the issue we had last time. Why did Diana wait over an hour to kill him?
That's also circumstantial. None of us know what really went on between those two in an hour. Ruling someone out because they took a long time to murder is stupid.
Without context? Sure, I'd say the same. But since the boiler room is unlocked, anyone can enter. If Diana knocked Wolfgang out, then she took over an hour to kill him with that info in mind.
Okay, but who would enter? No one wants to make a detour down some gross, freaky-looking basement. The boiler room is probably the most covert place a person can be.
Except for, I don't know, Eva and Damon. The most covert place. Her words do make sense. After all, I chose to meet Tozu in the boiler room for that very same reason.
Diana claims she didn't
Exactly.
write the notes, and she claims she didn't shoot the gun. But where's the hard proof she didn't do any of these things?
The answer lies in what destroyed the generator.
What?
Didn't we already talk about that?
All you guys did was discuss theories, never anything concrete. Settling for a theory isn't good enough when our lives are on the line. In the same way Ava can't rule out Diana's involvement in the case. we can't rule out the generators.
What, are you in love with this generator or something?
So we have to figure out what destroyed the generator? What should we do? Just throw out ideas?
It's what we've been doing this whole time.
Oakley dokley.
Alright, everyone.
Don't do that.
Let's put our thinking hats on. If we work together, we'll unravel this mystery for sure. Ready? On your marks, get set, go!
Dun, 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 dun.
Why did the generator blow up?
I guess I would have to
Could've
be
just
this.
been an electrical fault.
No.
So, a coincidence?
Is this the best situation? To be waving stuff off as a coincidence?
Did the killer throw something at the generator that made it explode?
Perhaps it's the fault of the taser gun? The electrical discharge it released might have connected with the generator and created an overabundance of energy, which caused everything in the circuit to pop.
Probably. There's no proof anything besides the taser was involved.
Okay, that's the shrap.
In that
Okay.
case, the generator blew up after Wolfie got shot with the taser.
Such a dastardly taser, leaving so many victims in its wake.
No, I'm long past the point of falling for this surface level diversion. In reality, the truth is floating just within reach.
Why did the generator
I mean, it has to
blow
be the
up?
shrapnel, right?
Could have just been an electrical fault.
Yeah.
Is this the best situation? To be waving stuff off as a coincidence? Did the killer throw something at the generator that made it explode? Perhaps it's the fault of the taser gun? The electrical discharge it released might have connected with the generator and created an overabundance of energy, which caused everything in the circuit to pop.
Probably. There's no proof anything besides the taser was involved.
No, that's wrong!
Hi everyone, this is Future Guilty popping in. I'm here to tell you that I got so wrapped up in this case that I just recorded for 3 hours straight. So the next few episodes are going to be kind of like straight through from one to the other without really intros to them. So I'm going to be adding intros and extros after the fact. So this is the first extro. Sorry for leaving you on a cliffhanger, which I'm sure I did. I don't actually know yet because I haven't edited the episodes, but I'm sure I did. So I got to ask you a question of the video, which I think should be: who did you think was the killer going into this trial? Because obviously I've seen the spoilers now, so if you just guessed it, you could say the person, but obviously don't say too much without a spoiler tag, just for other people who might be watching along, who haven't gotten to that point yet. But just tell me who you thought was the killer going into this trial, and then maybe you can explain some of your reasoning in like a spoiler tag section. If you just press like enter 3 or 4 times, it'll be read more, so then people can't accidentally see it. Yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. If you become a member, you can see the rest of this a week early. It's all up there right now, probably. So if you're a big fan of Eden's Garden, then maybe it's worth it. All right. Bye.